This next essay is called Constantality of Light. The current scientific hypothesis and standard axioms dictated by the majority of the scientific community state the speed of light is held inconstant no matter what reference frame or velocity you are traveling. That constantality of light is a metric that has far-reaching effects, such as the radio waves and atomic clocks that affect time dilation, the way light is thought of in distant galaxies moving away, which is categorized by redshift, the supposed effect of length contraction, the shape of electromagnetism and the frequency and wavelength of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. The constantality of light that the majority of the scientific population has adopted is said to be uniform and unchanging. Although they are brilliant discoveries by brilliant scientists, it lacks a complete understanding of the true nature of light. In this essay, I will show logical flaws in the argument that light is always presented as a constant, only going one unitary speed. The major points refuting light as a constant are delineated by 1, a video proof that light moves slower than we expect, 2, one of Einstein's thought experiments of special relativity, a witnessed movement by 2 observation points with clocks that were to be based upon time being kept as a wave, another 2 independent observers involved not agreeing on distance or time, and 3, I will also try to outline ancillary arguments with data exploring light and its morphisms and the veritable varieties of light in example and form. I will try to prove that not only light has different forms, but the luminiferous ether that carries it has different forms with different impedance and continuity points for energy transmission and destruction. Measuring the speed of light accurately and putting it into a constant has been attempted many times. The first noted measurement of the speed of light was made by Olaus Römer in 1676. He noticed that depending on the Earth, Sun, Jupiter geometry, there could be a difference of up to 1,000 seconds between the predicted times of the eclipses of Jupiter's moons and the actual times that these eclipses were observed. In 1865, James Clerk Maxwell proposed that light was an electromagnetic wave and therefore traveled at the speed c, appearing in his theory of electromagnetism. It was also attempted by Michelson and Morley in 1887, whom hypothesized that light moving with the Earth's rotation would create different measurements than moving against the Earth's orbit. In 1905, Albert Einstein postulated that the speed of light c with respect to any inertial frame is a constant and is independent of motion of the light source. This measurement allowed Albert Einstein to surmise that all light is a constant, and no matter the velocity or direction, it moves in the same distance and time. However, it is my estimation and opinion that light is not exactly a constant and has various species and formations along with different values of resistance, and different types of ether exist with different energy pockets as well as different elements and gases that light must travel through. Here is an exhibit of a reference video of a lightning bolt at a decreased rate of light speed than the current scientific ideology of 186,000 miles per second. I deduced that from the commencement of the appearance of the lightning bolt to the end of the forward velocity when the lightning bolt exits the screen, the time I recorded was 1.65 seconds. I calculated this on a stopwatch, which is a rudimentary timekeeper, less accurate than an atomic clock with a slow motion timing mechanism. I played the video around 15 times and took the attempt that I thought was the most accurate. Using my untrained eye with no way to calculate the distance exactly, I've hypothesized that the light traveled 300 feet in distance until it exited the screen. Current scientific theory states that light travels at 186 miles per second. The circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles, and the distance to the moon is 238,900 miles. Current cosmological thinking states that light travels 6 trillion miles in 1 year. Proxima Centauri is 4.24 light years away, and our Milky Way is said to be 100,000 light years across. In standard cosmological theory, it takes 8 minutes for the light from the sun to reach us. By that logic, that lightning bolt, which looked like it traveled 300 feet on the video, would have traveled 306,900 miles in that 1.65 seconds. That distance, if current speed of light calculations are correct, would equate to 12.32 times around the world and 1.28 times to the moon. If you were to calculate the error from my deduction and the current constantality of light values, my timing of the event would have been 0.0000185%, the total expected value of the distance that light would have traveled. It is my belief that the cause of this discrepancy between the current convention of the speed of light and what is observed is the difference in ether carrying the light through the frame. In the video, part of the explanation of the reason why it is traveling so slow is the air's hydration, affecting the luminiferous ether, impeding the lightning going through the frame with a relative degree of slowness compared to light in a vacuum. This observation of light going slower through a mostly hydrogen and oxygen-rich ether is important to note because the constituents of space could be made of the same substance that makes hydrated clouds. It has implications of the measurements of light anywhere in the universe. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, accounting for about 75% of the universe's elements, stardate.org. Oxygen is the third most abundant element in the universe and makes up nearly 21% of the Earth's atmosphere. jeffersonlab.org. Starlight must travel through a significant amount of hydrogen and oxygen in the environment of space to get to Earth. Another example of light moving at a slower than expected rate of speed is encapsulated in the figure of a Tesla coil gun. This film is slowed down by a disclosed rate by the author of 28,000 frames per second. It looks as though, by my rough estimates, to have moved 3 feet in roughly 12.51 seconds, or 4.17 seconds per foot. By that calculation, it is moving at 0.24 feet per second, and multiplied that by the 28,000 frames per second, the speed of light would have moved 6,715 feet per second. That number is significantly less than the speed of light calculated by current convention. Midway through the picture, there are several frames that show the branching out of the volt. During that perceived branching out of light, there is again a large change in the speed of light path that is not congruent to current accepted constantality theories or consistent with the beginning of the video. It shows a change in the speed of light when the lighter energy is from the same source, proving that light is not held in constant. In the figure, the reasoning of the discrepancy of the speed of light is possibly the design of the ejection of light, most notably the thickness of voltage being discharged. I would imagine the Tesla coil and gun usually perform similarly with respect to different weather patterns and areas of varying ether, so ether density and impedance most likely would not be the culprit for this discrepancy. A large wave would have considerably larger inertial pattern that could cause its slowness. This is another example of a different light species and should be a major impetus for investigation and classification of the plethora of light patterns and ether that are contained in our natural world.